What if I told you that astronauts are eating vegetables grown in their own urine right now, for 100 kilometers above your head? And before you cringe, NASA scientists say this could be the key to human survival on Mars. Stay with me because what's happening in space farms is about to change everything you know about food. Right now, aboard the International Space Station, there's a garden. But this isn't your grandmother's backyard setup. In 2023, astronauts harvested their first crop of dwarf tomatoes after growing them in complete microgravity for 104 days. These tomatoes weren't just experiments, they actually ate them. And here's the controversial part that NASA doesn't advertise heavily. The water used to grow these plants is recycled from crew members' sweat, breath moisture, and yes, their urine, purified to 98% cleanliness. Would you eat a salad grown this way? The reality is we have no choice. A single mission to Mars takes about 7 months one way. Carrying enough food for a 3-year round-trip mission would require approximately 10,000 kilograms of supplies per astronaut. That's literally impossible with current technology. The fuel alone would cost billions more. So scientists had to get creative, really creative. Enter space farming, and it's nothing like Earth agriculture. Plants grown in space face challenges that sound like science fiction. Without gravity, water doesn't flow down to roots, it forms floating spheres. Plant roots don't know which direction to grow because there's no down in space. NASA's solution? A system called Veggie, developed in 2014, uses LED lights that emit specific red and blue wavelengths because plants don't actually need the full spectrum of sunlight. They've discovered plants grow 20% faster under these optimized lights compared to natural sunlight on Earth. But here's where it gets mind-blowing. In 2021, researchers successfully grew peppers in space that tested higher in vitamin C than their Earth-grown counterparts. The stress of the space environment actually made them more nutritious. Scientists are now questioning everything we thought we knew about optimal growing conditions. What if our perfect Earth farms are actually producing inferior crops? The Chinese space program just one-upped everyone in 2022 when their Tiangong space station successfully completed a full ecosystem loop. Algae producing oxygen, fish consuming that oxygen and producing waste, and plants filtering that waste while feeding the fish. It's a completely self-sustaining cycle 370 kilometers above Earth. They've essentially created a mini biosphere that could theoretically run forever with minimal input. This is exactly what we'll need on Mars or the Moon. Speaking of the Moon, NASA's Artemis program plans to establish a permanent lunar base by 2028, and space farming isn't optional, it's mandatory. The European Space Agency released data in 2023 showing that astronauts on long-duration missions suffer significant bone density loss and muscle atrophy. But fresh vegetables rich in specific vitamins K and C can reduce these effects by up to 30%. Pills and supplements can't replicate the complex phytonutrients found in fresh produce. Your body knows the difference between real food and processed alternatives. Here's the controversial truth many don't want to discuss. We're practicing for Earth's future, not just space exploration. With climate change affecting traditional farmlands and global population projected to hit 9.7 billion by 2050, the vertical farming techniques, water recycling systems, and optimized LED growing methods developed for space are already being implemented in urban areas worldwide. Singapore now produces 18% of its vegetables using space farming technology in vertical farms. The Netherlands, using NASA-inspired controlled environment agriculture, has become the world's second largest food exporter despite being smaller than West Virginia. The economics are staggering. A single head of lettuce grown on the ISS cost approximately $52,000 in 2015. By 2022, that cost dropped to around $8,000. Still expensive? Sure, but the trajectory is clear. Private companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin are investing heavily because they see the profit potential. Elon Musk's Mars colonization plans literally cannot work without solving space farming first. We're talking about a potential trillion-dollar industry. But there's a darker side nobody talks about. In 2023, researchers discovered that cosmic radiation affects plant DNA differently than expected, causing mutations at rates 40% higher than computer models predicted. Some mutations are beneficial, creating hardier crops, but others are completely unpredictable. We're essentially creating new plant species in space, and there's genuine scientific debate about whether these modified crops should be allowed back on Earth. Could we accidentally introduce an invasive superplant that outcompetes natural species? The International Space Station retires in 2030. That gives us just 7 years to perfect these systems before we lose our primary testing laboratory. China and private companies are racing to fill that gap with their own stations, but the clock is ticking. Every crop cycle teaches us something new, and we're in a sprint against time. Japanese scientists reported in 2024 that they successfully grew rice in space with 95% of normal Earth yield. Rice feeds over half the planet. If we can grow it reliably in space, we can grow it anywhere on Earth, in deserts, in underground facilities, in Arctic regions. The implications are revolutionary. So here's what I want to know. If you had the chance to eat the first Mars-grown apple in human history, knowing it was grown in Martian soil with recycled astronaut wastewater under artificial light, would you take a bite? Drop your answer in the comments because this future is coming faster than you think. And if this blew your mind, follow for more reality checks about our future in space.